everyone, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Kent.
This is an extra long vlog where we are taking you along on 3 trips that we took in September.
For the first trip, we're flying down to Atlanta, Georgia.
Next up, we'll road trip down to College Park, Maryland.
Lastly, we'll take to the skies again to fly down to Dallas, Texas.
Why are we taking these 3 trips?
For football.
And knitting.
So here's the plan with football. On Labor Day weekend, we're going to fly from New York to Atlanta for our first game, Oregon versus Georgia. 2 weeks later, we're going to rent a car and drive from New York to College Park, Maryland for SMU versus Maryland. And the following weekend, we're going to once again hop on an airplane to Dallas for SMU versus TCU.
Are you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know, just week 1. You gotta get there, flights could get canceled. Who knows?
You think we're not going to make it by Saturday? It's Thursday.
Yeah, you never know. Just get there, deal with game 1, go from there.
Our first trip started out with the journey to the airport. Now, there are tons of ways to get to New York's airports, but the absolute cheapest way, without a friend's car, is a train and a bus. We have about a 10-minute walk to our closest subway station, then a 20-minute train ride from Manhattan to Queens, then a 15-minute bus ride to the airport, all with our bags in tow. What did you get?
Pumpkin spice latte.
What is it?
Pumpkin spice. It's September, it's allowed.
It's September 1st, so your first pumpkin spice latte of the season?
Yeah.
Once we got to Atlanta, Kent's brother picked us up and we stopped at the Sweetwater Brewery. We each got a beer flight to kick off vacation, and we ended up liking Sweetwater so much, we actually come back here 2 days later. We stopped for a late dinner at a Korean barbecue place before making our way back to my brother-in-law's. He recently moved to Georgia from Orlando, Florida. The second day of our trip was a work day for everyone, so Kent and I borrowed his brother's car and headed back into Atlanta.
Doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors. They kind of tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay.
Our first stop was for Kent, the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta. When you walk in, there's a massive wall of helmets, one for every four-year school that has a football team. You select your team when you walk in, and your team's helmet will light up.
There's something different about us.
really didn't think I would have that much fun at the College Football Hall of Fame, but it was actually a blast. I definitely recommend getting there when they open, like we did, so you can avoid any crowds. This allowed us to do all of the interactive exhibits without waiting, like singing our school fight songs or pretending we were on college game day.
There's something different about us. We're pouring cup after cup after cup. Yeah, it's just the way we do it. Anything just to block out the real life, real life. Yeah, we're loving the way they think we're so messed up. Even if what we're doing is bad, there's so many emotions. Sharing stories that we never had, yeah, none is real.
The next stop of the day was for me, but first we needed some food. We decided to stop at the Ponce City Market food hall and shared a Korean corn dog with sugar.
Know where we will fall. Nobody can see us, still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are.
You know we can't go on a trip without checking out a local yarn shop. This is the Craftivist in Atlanta's Inman Park neighborhood. It's an adorable shop located next to a donut place. We did a full tour here in a separate video that I will make sure to link for you. For this trip, I brought with me 3 different projects. In my carry-on bag, I brought 2 projects. I brought my Alpenglow by Andrea Mowry for knitting on the plane and just knitting out and around the house. And then I also brought my Musselburgh hat, which I knit on like in the airport, anytime we're like driving in the car or waiting, or just if something happened with my Alpenglow. And then I brought a little pouch with scissors, extra stitch markers, and a measuring tape. In my checked bag, I have a larger toolkit, which has like a scale and just more tools that I may need. And then I have this bag, which has a backup project plus 2 more skeins for my Alpenglow, all wound and ready, just in case. I don't know. What if we get stuck here for a few days? I brought another project, another set of yarn to start a new Musselburgh hat, plus the needles and stuff that I need for that, because I wasn't sure how far I would get on this Musselburgh hat, and I figured I'd better be prepared just in case. I am always taking my knitting with me to different sporting events, and the most important thing to check is the bag policy. So the bag policy for Mercedes-Benz Stadium is a clear bag policy, so a clear bag that is 12 by 12 or smaller, or if you have a bag that's like really tiny, like a 4 by 6, I think, you can bring in a bag that is not clear. Most of the time, even if a stadium doesn't have a clear bag policy, I bring a clear bag anyway because it makes it faster to get through the security most of the time because they can just see what's in there and they don't worry about it. I have another clear pouch. This is like a makeup bag that I just keep all my essentials in so that they don't get tangled up with anything else that I may have in there. And then I usually just take my knitting project. I'll often have it in a yarn cozy and I just dump it here in the top. Today, I'm bringing with me my Musselburgh hat for the game because it will be nice and simple to work on. And I'm a little torn if I should bring my second set of Musselburgh yarn because we're not just going to the game today. We're also spending several hours before, like hanging out, watching games on TV, going to lunch. So I think it would be in my best interest to also bring with me the other Musselburgh hat that I was planning to start. Luckily, I've got tons of room inside this bag. I don't need extras like sweatshirts and hats because it's not a cold weather game. We're actually inside of a dome. So this is going to be a really comfortable knitting game day. Our third and final day of the trip started out with an early and foggy drive into Atlanta. We stopped at a bar on the way into Mercedes-Benz to watch College Game Day and have our first game day beer. Now, you may be wondering, why did you go all the way to Atlanta to watch Oregon and Georgia play? Well, Kent's brother went to U of O and my brother went to UGA. Kent's brother lives in Atlanta and mine drove down from Nashville to join us for the game. We're back at the Sweetwater Brewery to watch some of the early games before heading to our game at 3:30.
Don't care about no gold, no one else to hit my phone up. None of that pretentious life. No, don't need no pills to get high. There's no doubt in my mind. Your love, it is all that I need.
After a little bit of a parking debacle, we headed into the game. The line to get in was horrible. I've never been to a game at Mercedes-Benz before, so I don't know if it's like this all of the time, but the way it functioned this day created a huge bottleneck at ticketing. We got it to the stadium about 30 minutes early, and we still missed kickoff. Not to mention, it had warmed up a lot.
I'm on my feet, I'm dancing to the pounding of your heartbeat. Your eyes sing the sweetest melody. Don't care about no gold, no one else to hit my phone up. None of that pretentious life. No, don't need no pills to get high. There's no doubt in my mind.
Once we were in the stadium though, it was wonderful. Seriously, I may never go to a football game without a dome ever again. Just kidding, I will. 2 more times in this video. But seriously, climate control meant I could knit super comfortably during the game. So I had a great time, but the University of Oregon's football team, not so much. After the game, we made one more stop at a small brewery to hang out, and I did a little knitting. Then we ended the night by getting cookout burgers and milkshakes and watching funny YouTube videos on the couch. The next morning, we said our goodbyes to our brothers and then headed back home to NYC. We're headed off to Maryland this weekend to watch SMU play a football game, which is Kent's alma mater. Even though this is a road trip, we still had to start out by heading to the airport to pick out our rental car.
You didn't even see me gaze yesterday. Feeling every day like I'm going insane. 'Cause you and I are something I wish for every day. So I hope you look my way, but yeah. You didn't even see me gaze yesterday. 'Cause I know I am nobody to you. And it feels just like you want me to go now. But I hope you slow it down. Hope you slow it down. 'Cause what I really need.
And while we had a car, we like to make it worth it. And so we went to Costco and picked up a ton of stuff that we can use over the next few months until we can get to Costco again.
Just like that. Like me like that.
So now we're headed back home. It takes like an hour to get home after we go to the airport, and we're gonna pack up and head out tomorrow morning bright and early.
Like me like that. Just like that. Like me like that.
We just hopped in the car. We're very glad that it's still here because Ken had to park it on the street last night. And wearing the same shirt, but I washed it so that we could wear. Do you want to show what you're wearing?
Just
SMU. All right, we're off to get our friend Lisa, and then we are hitting the road.
Feeling every day like I'm going insane. 'Cause you and I are something I wish for.
The drive from New York City to Maryland is only about 3 hours, but we did our best to make it take twice as long. This is just what we do on road trips. Our first stop was Dunkin' for some pumpkin goodies, and yes, all of this is for just 3 people.
I hope you slow it down. Hope you slow it down. 'Cause what I really need is your time. So will you let me like that?
Now, Kent has this weird tradition for college football where he drinks a beer at the end of college game day. Since we were in the car, we found a non-alcoholic beer for him to drink. In some states, this beer is legal for minors to buy as it has less alcohol than a banana. Kent said it tasted great.
Like me like that. Just like that. Slow it down. 'Cause I know
Our second yarn store pit stop was at Clover Hill Yarn Shop in Catonsville, Maryland. And I have no idea if I'm saying this correctly. It could be Catonsville, so if you know, please correct me. Anyway, the shop was great and the people that were working that day were super friendly. The owner even has their own yarn dyeing company called Tempting You Yarn, that's EWEU, and it's featured in a ton of different bases. I had to get a skein to take home with me. An hour later, we made it to College Park, Maryland, where we dropped our bags at a hotel and then zoomed over to campus. We wanted to spend as much time as we could exploring the college, checking out nearby restaurants, and scoping out the tailgate scene. We stopped at a couple of pub, bar, food-like places for lunch, and we had some local brews. Then we started making our way towards the stadium, which is how we found the tailgates. We were starting to wonder where all the fans were as the restaurants and bars were pretty empty, but we found them.
Getting out of this one.
Okay, I'm at the hotel, and to be perfectly honest, it's actually the next day. But for the purpose of this video, let's just pretend I'm sitting down before the game. We actually got here so quickly yesterday, and we had like so little time. We just dropped our bags, changed real quick, and then headed straight to the campus so that we could like check it all out and everything a few hours before the game. So for this trip, I brought with me 2 projects. For in the car, I brought my Nurtured sweater, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and I am knitting on the sleeves. I'll have the project link down below. Then for the game, I brought another Musselboro hat, and this one is all Dallas Stars colors, and I got so much done. I mean, I will get so much done at the game, and it has been such a perfect project to work on. Now, the University of Maryland also has a clear bag policy. So I have this SMU clear bag. I brought with me, again, my little clear pouch so that I can put all my extras in. And then this time, I just brought this knitting bag in because I didn't really want it tangling up with all my other stuff. So I just took this bag, threw it inside here with all of my other things, and it worked perfectly. All right, let's get back to game day.
Everybody wanna sing, sing, sing. You're a winner when you sing, sing, sing. I've got a song, you hum along, and we have fun, fun, fun when we're moving to the beat. This kind of song makes you belong to something greater, something that makes you wanna sing. And
further north than Atlanta. The weather for this game was beautiful and I got a ton of knitting done. We also had such a great experience with all of the Maryland fans. They were super nice to us as the away team, and I even had a couple people ask about my knitting. Unfortunately, SMU lost again, so we are 0-2 on football trips so far. The next morning, we packed up our stuff for the drive back to New York City. But first, we had to stop and try some local breakfast spots near campus. We grabbed coffee first and then headed over to a popular bagel place for food. On the drive home, I knitted away on my nurtured sweater. I just love travel because I can usually get so much knitting done either in the car or on a plane. Back to the airport we go for our last trip to Dallas, Texas. You're familiar with this by now, right? We'll just walk to the subway station, take the train to the bus to the airport, and the plane to our destination. Your battles are mine too. I'll fight for you when things get hard. Lay it all on me when you're not strong enough to carry on. Baby, you should know I got you. The first thing we had to do when we got to Texas was get some Tex-Mex. I've lived in Texas for 7 years and Kit lived there for 30. So when we leave Texas, it's like a countdown timer starts until we will figuratively perish without some good salsa. We've made it to Texas and we are staying at our friend's house for like the next 6 days. So I thought that I would just sit down real quick and show you what I've brought with me on this trip because this is the longest of the 3 trips that we have taken. So I brought a little more than I did for the other 2 trips. So first of all, in my carry-on luggage, I had 2 projects. And the first one was my main project for the airplane. And that was the nurtured sweater. So I'm working on these 2 sleeves, and this project only has 2 balls of yarn and it's pretty compact for a large project. So it was perfect for the plane. I could fit it in my backpack, I could fit it in my lap without disturbing anyone around me. And then for my project to have just in case something happened or I don't know, I'm waiting in the airport, I brought my portable project, which is the teensiest little muscle bro hat that I literally just started last night so that I could have a small portable project, which you will see show back up later for game day. I brought 1 other project with me. So I don't know, 3 projects. That's not like a ton, but it is all of the current whips that I have. I brought them all because I have goals for this sweater and this one. Now this I put in my checked luggage because I wanted to bring it on the plane really badly, but it has 3 balls of yarn right now. And it's just a much larger project because it's most of a sweater, just minus the sleeves. And I've got 2 needles attached to it. And I'm cutting yarn and going back and forth between the sleeves. And it just seemed like not the easiest thing to work on the plane. We'll see though, I might change my mind on the way back. But this is the Alpenglow sweater by Andrea Mallory. And so what's fun about this video is that I'm recording all of this in like chronological order in real time, but then it will come out later and you will have seen these projects kind of like develop on another timeline in the podcast. So hopefully that's like fun and interesting to see. Now, I did bring some tools with me on this trip. I brought with me my new favorite little pouch given to me by my friend Bethany that I love so much from Black Pearl Magic. This is like the perfect thing because it's small, but I don't know what that noise was. It's small, but it doesn't like rattle as much as a plastic container would. So I have one, can't really see it in there. I have one needle for like weaving in ends, scissors, which you can take on the plane, at least in the US, measuring tape, tons of light bulb stitch markers because they can be used as light bulb stitch markers or on the needles. I guess as like in the knitting or on the needles. And then you can't see it in there, but I do have one of those tools to use to tighten interchangeable needles just in case mine come loose. And since I'm doing a lot of crazy different things with like changing my needles in between sleeves and everything, I tried really hard to get all of my projects set up and ready for when I got here, like all the difficult parts out of the way, like picking up stitches on the sleeves and all of that. But because I haven't like sat and knitted with those needles and to see if they're like the best thing, I decided to just go ahead and bring my whole interchangeable needle set, which doesn't take up a ton of room. This was in my checked luggage. I didn't have it with me on the plane, but just in case I need to make an adjustment or switch needles, I do have that option. I have just switched over to doing magic loop on the sleeves from 2 circular needles. So that was another motivator to bring my whole needle kit with me just in case something happened. And then the last thing also in my checked luggage is this bag. This bag holds a few different things. It's got these 2 yarns, which are part of my West Knits MCal kit because I'm planning to use these 2 colors and replace the 3rd color that I got in the kit. And since I'm going to DFW Fiberfest, I'm going to look for a 3rd color there. So I wanted to bring these 2 with me and take them with me there so I can match them well. I've got the 2nd color that I'm gonna need for my hat. Didn't need to bring that with me on the plane. There's no way I was gonna get through half of the hat. So this one went into my checked luggage. And then I've got, my scale. I just like always need my scale. So that was important. And then the rest of this is all yarn that I need for the Alpenglow. I've got like an extra ball of main color. I've got like the fluffy colors, like just in case I get to the end of the sleeves, which is not likely, but just in case I do power through, I wanted to have that option. And then one last needle that's not part of the interchangeable set that I would also need in case I get through those sleeves. So I don't know how much knitting I'm gonna get done on this trip. We are here for a while, but we do have lots to do. So today, this afternoon, we actually are left with a ton of free time. So I think I'm gonna get some knitting done. It's already, it's almost 5 o'clock and we don't have anything we have to do for the rest of the evening. So I think the Alpenglow is gonna come back out, but tomorrow, and the next day, we are going to be very busy trying to work on our storage unit while we're here. And then it's Fiberfest, and then it's the game, and then we're pretty much coming back home. So I like to have my options here, but I try not to overdo it or make too many expectations on myself when I do travel. Our Texas trip is mostly about getting all the food that we missed. So for dinner the first night, we went to our favorite fast food place, Whataburger.
Something magical, pretending that nobody knows, trying to hide but it shows, lost myself.
I just turned off the car, so I have about 10 seconds before I actually melt because it's like 95 degrees or something. But while we're here, Kent and I are trying to hit up every single Texas like fast food restaurant or other foods that we love. So we got chips and salsa and Mexican food yesterday. We got Whataburger last night. And then today for lunch, I grabbed this Taco Bueno, which is one of our favorite fast food taco places, besides Taco Bell, of course. Later, we're gonna be getting something else, but I'm gonna get inside because I'm already drenched. Like I feel like I'm already drenched in sweat, and show you how the storage unit is going. The first 2 days were all about our storage unit. When we sold our Texas home in early 2021 to move to New York City for a year, we just didn't know what would happen next. Now that we've extended our time in New York for another year, we're really looking at all of our stuff differently. Our mission was to go through everything to either donate or sell half of our things and move into a smaller and more affordable storage unit.
All right, day 2 of our storage unit and the last day, although it's gonna be such a long day. But we're continuing our tour around fast food of Texas, and don't judge us. I feel like this is gonna be like so disgusting that we have all these places, but it's a vacation and I'm so happy to be going to my favorite fast food. So today we got Chicken Express. This is a large unsweet tea, not a soda. And the best part about Chicken Express is they are like a chicken tender place. You can also get like pieces of chicken, but they have like sides other than fries and stuff. So hello, we have all this is fried okra, and I got mashed potatoes. You can get mac and cheese, you get a biscuit. It's the best. Anyway, I'm gonna go help Kit now.
Even though we were crunched for time to finish our storage unit and return the U-Haul we rented, we needed a little mood booster and a snack. Bahama Bucks is the best shaved ice I've ever had. I love the pina colada flavor. Just like any type of move, at the end, we were just cramming things into the storage unit because we couldn't find a legal place to dump our trash. But we did get finished in time to go home and crash before the next day. Friday was all about DFW Fiberfest. Fiberfest is an annual show at the Irving Convention Center with tons of classes and a huge marketplace. If you'd like to see more of DFW Fiberfest, you can check out my vlog here.
Go for it.
It's like one of those things where you start like making deals with the sports gods or whatever, and it's like just this one. Like we're 0-2 in the games we've gone to, like in this video actually. This is the one. If we get this one, it's all okay. I'll take 49-3. I'll take the loss to Maryland. Would make this one even better if SMU wins by like 90. That's the dream. I want it to be 63-0 at halftime, and then we just party for an hour and a half.
Not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. A little worried that the lines moved from SMU, and I think it was TC minus 2.5 this morning.
Oh my god, you're not including all of this part.
I am.
No, you're not. Boring. Let's go back to Fiberfest.
Full disclosure, it's wear blue for SMU, and he's used purple. And now I'm realizing I may not be able to tell some people apart and tell if they're friends or not.
It's bright. What's the high today?
97.
On Saturday, we woke up early for an 11 a.m. kickoff. Finally, after watching 2 away games, we were getting to see a football game at home. But unfortunately, it was a crazy hot day.
What I said last time we met.
After checking out the boulevard, which is what SMU calls their tailgating space, we headed into the game early because we were worried about long lines like in Atlanta. But it turns out that getting in was not the thing to worry about. Instead, the long lines were getting food and beer. Some of the stands actually ran out of water bottles and mini food items, which was dangerous on this super hot day.
The feeling of just knowing that I love you. If you got the time, I'd like to stay a while. I'd like to fall asleep beside you on your bed.
stop the time, sure it would. In this moment, I really wish I could. Do you feel the same way as I do?
Eventually, we found some shade in the fourth quarter, but even then, I was just too hot to knit. And unfortunately, it was another SMU loss, so maybe we're just bad luck? Since the game was so early in the day, we had lots of time after to hang out with friends. We got some much needed air conditioning, food, and water, and for me, a lot of knitting time.
And we can stay as long as we want to, you and me. If I could stop the time.
Kent and I were falling asleep after our 3 crazy busy days, so we opted for coffee over beer in the afternoon.
Yes, I do. The feeling of just knowing.
On our last day in Texas, we mostly relaxed, washed clothes, and cleaned up our friend's place where we were staying. Some of our friends that went to the game with us the day before came over to grill out and watch NFL football. And just about everyone fell asleep on the couch around 5 p.m.
Forever in this state of happiness.
As we headed back to New York City one final time, I was feeling super grateful for this month of travel. As a teacher, which was my previous job, it would never have been possible for me to take these trips and continue to work to support our travel. So thank you so much for watching this video and any and everything else that you do to help support Love and Stitches. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next one.